Hi, this is Shay from Fool on a Journey. I am filming my hashtag 16 faves. I am so excited about this tag and the 22 faves. I am working on that. That's the little side pile over there. Because I'm so excited to get mine done because I was afraid to watch anybody else's videos until I had done mine because I didn't want to be swayed. So I was like, had to get this out quickly so that I could finally go back and watch everybody else's. But this has been the coolest tag ever. I'll link the original video below. I filmed this a couple of times because it keeps getting super duper long and rambly. So I'm going to try to stay a little more focused on task this time. But I just get really excited and there's so much to say about court cards. I really struggled with them. If I have anybody here that's sort of jumped onto my YouTube channel from my Instagram, you'll know that this is something that I struggled with for so long, and it really took finding about 1 million different opinions on the court before I could really form my own opinion. It definitely was a struggle. So if you're currently struggling with court cards, I totally understand. Another reason that this video takes a little bit longer for me is because I'm not just going to say, this is my favorite. I'm kind of going to talk about what each court card means to me. Because I feel like that's why I picked these cards. I have some cards from other decks that I feel like were much more just artistically beautiful, but I feel like these really embodied what I feel each court card is supposed to mean. So it's like if I get these in a reading, these are the most clearly easy to read because they embody perfectly what I feel like a court card means. So this is sort of my view on the court plus my hashtag 16 faves. So I wanted to kind of give you the overall view. I know the bottom row is a little bit cut off, but you can still sort of see generally, what deck they came from. You'll notice that across the suits, there are some similarities, like down the Pentacles or the bottom row, you can see that is Tarot of the She, that's Tarot of the She. The Cups, the Queen and King, are both from the Prisma visions. And then the Swords are actually mostly from Tarot of the Absurd. And then also same thing, actually, notice that most of my Knights are from Tarot of the She. I didn't do that really intentionally. I just kind of felt like it worked the best. Like they just really nailed what I felt the best, and so I just didn't argue with myself. Just sort of went for it and let it be whatever I was feeling at the time. Yes, I did pull out all, what am I at? I think I'm at 30, I think is what I said on my April Arwen tag. I think I counted 30. Yes, I pulled out all 30 decks. I went through all 30 decks. I looked at every single court card and decided which one was my favorite, and it took forever, and my husband thinks I'm nuts. But, so let's start with Swords, because that's the one that I get the most excited about up here. Okay. So, here are my swords. So let's start with the Page of Swords. The reason, to me, this is the epitome of the Page of Swords is because when I'm thinking swords, we're talking about knowledge and being up in your head and in your mind. I believe, and don't quote me on this because I watched about 150 million court card videos, but I believe it was Kellyanne Maddox. She did a video on like connecting with the court. And I believe she mentioned, it was really brief, it wasn't like it was what the video was about, that when you think about a page, you should think about, so you made it all the way through the suit, that's like making it through high school. And then the page is you've decided what you're focusing on now specifically, and you're starting all over new again, but at a higher level. So like going to college, which I believe she said university because college is the American term. But that to me really stuck. The other thing that I really sort of absorbed was, I cannot for the life of me remember the blog, but I found a blog post that really went into looking at each level of the court as a different element within its own element. So like the Page would be the air, the knights would be the fire, the queens would be the water, and the kings would be the earth. So the Page of Swords then becomes the heir of air. And when you're talking about a student who's just thinking, they're all in their minds, we're talking about, double the air here, we're all in our heads, how do you not look at a girl in the library and immediately think of that? I mean, that's just exactly what you think of. Somebody who's walking to the library, I'm going to learn, I'm ready to learn, I am seeking knowledge. And that to me is perfectly the Page of Swords. I know a lot of people also for the Page of Swords really throw in that sort of messenger, which actually fits with the sort of library idea. I mean, think about, how much words and written language and communication is available in a library. So all that to me just, I see her in the library, and that is the perfect Page of Swords. Okay, so my Knight of Swords. We talked about knights being fire. So the fire of air. So this is about being really, really passionate about what you think and you believe. Now we've moved on past that student. We've done some studying. We've done some looking. We've come across some knowledge that we believe. Absolutely believe. We are not letting it go. We are taking a stand. This is somebody who has absolute determination in knowing what they believe is right, and they are going to fight for it. Now, the reason I chose this one is because we've got this little kid here. He's barefoot in the snow. He's completely unprepared. Look how tiny his sword is. Look at this big scary beast. He's doing it anyway because it's the right thing to do. Protesters. Anybody who sees an injustice in the world and cannot sit quietly, you are a Knight of Swords. That is how I just see the Knight of Swords. I feel like this depiction nailed it perfectly. Okay, so these two came together, and I actually really love them together. This is from the Tarot of the Absurd. So the water of air, we're talking about the Queen of Swords here, the water of air. When you're talking about water and you're talking about creativity and the flow, and you're going with the flow, you're not really sort of fighting against anything, you're finding your own way around. Her blades in this card are scissors, which automatically, I mean, crafty. Hello, I mean, that's crafty. She's got scissors, and she's, instead of with this big sword and fighting against it, she's sort of just snipping off the ends to create what it is she wants it to be. She knows what she wants it to be, but she's not going to make this big, huge fighting stance about it. She's going to craftily get around whatever the obstacle is, because she is going to use that sort of creative mind to get where she wants to go without the fight, without the struggle. And that to me is the perfect water of air representation. Okay, this man right here. Every time I see him, I get even more excited. I don't know if you can see super well, but in his hand, not the one that's got the sword, notice that the sword is put away. He is not wielding it. It's put away. He's got it there. He could pull it out, but he's not going to. Because look what is in his hand. A pin. The pin is mightier than the sword. Okay. That's just, I mean, that's perfect. How do you get more earth of air than that? When you're talking about a king and being really earthy, it's that real stable, he's not looking anymore. He doesn't go to the library to research. He's done that. He's not out on the streets protesting anymore. He did that. He doesn't have to be crafty and work his way around things anymore, because he knows. He's set in his ways, he's absolutely stable, and now he is writing down his words for other people to study and learn from what he has done. And that is just the most amazing King of Swords ever. And if that is not, the air of the earth, then I don't know what is. Oh, I apologize, that was backwards. It should technically be the earth of air. Moving along. Okay, wands. I actually get a little emotional when I'm looking at the wands, because it's, it's fire, it's passionate, and it becomes a bit about expression. So when you're looking at a new way, you're trying to become this student of expressing yourself. This to me absolutely says musician. Oh man, I'm already stuttering into other tarot cards. It's going to be another long video. Okay, so we've got a musician here. He's practicing playing for the wand, which is adorable. It's clearly something new. He looks a little uncomfortable. He looks a little nervous. There's a reason he's out in the middle of nowhere and nobody's listening to him because he doesn't really know what he's doing. But he's trying and he's learning and he's set out on this journey. And to me, that sort of nervous energy, I completely relate to the Page of Wands. When you're about to start something new, a new job, or you're about to present something that you're really passionate about for the first time to other people, that sort of nervous excitement that you get about the things that you're very passionate about, that to me is the Page of Wands. So that is my air of fire. This is so fire of fire, I don't even need to say it. This is the Warrior Prince from the Tarot of the She, and I will say that I really do love how they put the gifts on the bottom of this deck, but it really is about the picture just as much as the fact that it had those words on there. He's on fire. He's got fire in his hair, he's got fire coming out of his hand. He is completely consumed with passion and drive, and he is unstoppable. He feels unstoppable. He's going to fight. He is going to win. Everything about this feels fire of fire to me. This one took a much longer time. I went back and forth with a lot of queens before I came up with, Queens of Wands, before I came up with this one. And the reason that I landed on this one actually is because she got the most fiery feeling to me. For some reason I get lack of fire from a lot of Queen of Wands, and I needed to find a queen that really had some fire, which is funny to say because the colors on this card are so earthy. But I mean, if you really look at, her stance with, the hand on the spear and the hands on her hips, and it looks like, her second pair of hands are about to hike that skirt up so she can attack you if she needs to. Also, and I could not in a million years tell you where I heard and or read this, probably more likely heard, there is a story, I think it was on the History Channel actually, that the Amazons would cut off one of their breasts so that they could easier draw back their bows, so that they could fight to be warriors. So this is a woman who is still a woman, absolutely, but she's going to do what she needs to be able to fight. And to me, that's the creativity of the water with that sort of spirit and fire of fire. The King of Wands, which is my Earth of Fire. This is that grounded passion. This is that really grounded, focused, I don't need to waste any energy, I don't need to overexert myself, I know exactly what needs to get done and exactly how to do it, and I'm inspiring other people to want to follow and do what I am doing because clearly I have it all figured out. And a lot of reasons that this lion sort of hits all that for me, it's not just the colors in the card, the colors in this card are absolutely gorgeous, but it's not just the colors. I'm a massive Narnia fan, so it's like anytime I see a lion, I automatically, my mind goes to Aslan of Narnia, and that just sort of calm, quiet, really purposeful energy. Every bit of energy is focused on the goal, and none of it is wasted, and that is what I feel like when I'm looking at this card. All right, Cups. This Page of Cups is actually this is one of my newest decks. So I don't know it extremely well, but it just really jumped out at me. You know, when you're talking about the air of water, it's a really light, sort of floaty, heady, but it's an emotional thing. You know, it's somebody who really thinks about their feelings and who sort of wonders where they come from. And I almost feel like she's looking into this cup, like pondering, why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking, you know, what do I feel when I'm thinking these things? And I just sort of really see that contemplative, but still sweet, emotional side of her. They just really did it for me. I was actually kind of surprised that I picked this because I don't know this deck as well as a lot of the other ones, which is actually true of the Tarot of the She too. I picked a bunch of those. So clearly I'm getting good at buying decks now. That's what that means. Just kidding. Okay, so this is my Air of Water. Okay, so this is my Fire of Water, which I actually feel like, and I feel like the gift here is perfect, the gift of passion, because sometimes that can be a bad thing. Think about fire and water. They do not always go well together. So when you're talking about the fire of water, this is someone who feels deeply, someone who feels very, very quick and very, very deep and feels it strong. This is someone who could easily get their heart broken. This is someone who would be absolutely ruined if they, you know, if someone broke their heart. But at the same time, this is someone who's very in love, honestly. This is a real honest kind of love where it's not just this quick fleeting, I'm in love with love. They're really in love with the person and they mean it, and it's very true love, but it happens quick. And I feel like it's a very much a Romeo kind of deal, but I almost feel like to say that is a little insulting to my Knight of Cups, because it's not that superficial. It's like he could be hurt so badly because he isn't superficial. Very much heart on the sleeve. Also, can we talk about how incredibly gorgeous it is that the cup is in the moon? Pretty obsessed with that. So this is the Knight of Cups, so that is the Fire of Water. I'm going to pick these guys up together again because I picked a King and Queen of the same one, and these sit together. You can kind of see that. The little bridge behind him connects, and she's floating up on the bridge, and he's down in the water. So just looking at this queen, when you're talking about the water of water, I mean, she's literally made of water, and she's holding a cup of water. So clearly she's got the water of water thing way down. This is someone who feels everything. This is someone who feels honestly and truly and shows what they feel, and is able to channel their feelings into creative outlets and ideals. This is an artist, which is another reason I really picked this deck. I feel like that whole suit of cups has the potential to be all of the artists. There's always something really creative and just emotionally creative. That's what, you know, comes out of water. And that whole suit, I feel like, sort of has a way of symbolizing that. And this queen, for me, she's made of water. There are fish swimming down her skirt back into the lake or pond or whatever that is. So I feel like she is the perfect epitome of water of water. Now, when we are talking about the earth of water, this is someone who's a little more in control of their emotions and their feelings. Not in a way that they would smother it, but just in a way that they would know when it was appropriate and when it wasn't. They would know how to not let their emotions control them. You'll notice in this queen, there's water kind of all over the place. You know, she's got this stream up here. She's, you know, it's all coming down her skirt. He's standing completely in the water, he is controlling that flow, and it's going into that cup, or it's coming out of that cup and going where he wants it to. But he's really in control here, and I don't mean that in this really aggressive, you know, holding back his emotions. I just mean he knows how to channel them very effectively. So that, to me, is very much the Earth of Water and the King of Cups. For the Suit of Pentacles, I actually struggled a little bit because this is my favorite suit. So it was like there was a lot of pressure here because I love Pentacles. The heir of Earth is somebody who is thinking about what it means to be an earthly being and what does it mean to be of the earth. This is actually a pretty sexual card. She's clearly proud of her body. She's thinking about, I feel like this is somebody who's just gone through puberty. This is someone who's really thinking about what does of the earth mean. She's holding, I think that's fruit in her hand right there. If you can see that, I don't know. Could be fruit, it could be the pentacle. I kind of think it was meant to represent the pentacle, but she's looking at it, she's contemplating it, but she's very much in a feeling of herself, her body, which surprised me. I didn't think I was going to think that about an earth suit, but it makes sense because when you think about the earth and the earth of giving life, and a girl discovering about what giving life means is sort of perfect for that sort of heir of earth, Page of Pentacles. So I kind of feel like she's really that growing into yourself, growing into your body, growing into your being of who you are here on earth. I did struggle with this one because I was really surprised I ended up picking this card, but it's a gorgeous card. Anybody who has this deck, I'm sure, loves it. But there's also a sense of material possessions. She's got a headband, she's got that scarf, she's got the stockings on. This is clearly someone who's also learning that she likes having money to spend, which I feel like is another thing that I feel like people have sort of shied away from sort of saying that pentacles mean people who like money. But I honestly think it's more of a comfort. Pentacles are about the comforts that you have and the comforts that you want, and it doesn't necessarily have to be money. If what makes you comfortable is air conditioning in the summertime, then you want to make sure that you can have that, which ironically does require money. So that is my heir of the earth. Now, the fire of the earth, I actually struggled with this one too, but the reason I ended up with this one, the gift of connection, I like that, I don't even think I remember that one, was really the animals, because I feel like this is somebody who's really passionate about the earth. He's feeling that tree, he's touching that tree, he is, you know, he's got his hand on the dog, there's the owl on his shoulder. This is someone who's aware of the effect that they have on the things around them. This is someone who's really aware about what makes up their home and what makes up their stability and what makes up their comfort. And I just kind of felt like that was a good fiery emotion to have for this suit. You know, when you're talking about the fire of the earth, it does, in a sense, sort of create that, you know, where's it come from? Where is it, you know, that sort of passion about the earth and passion for the earth and passion for what brings you comfort and what brings you happiness and what brings you stability. And I love that in this particular card, because it is the suit of the earth, his passion looks clearly directed at the tree and at the animals, and I feel like that's a good way for, it's like the passion is going back into the earth and being fiery about the earth. I thought that was a really beautiful representation. The Queen of Pentacles. This is from the Shadowscapes, and I almost picked the king too, but at the very end I changed my mind. But the king of the Shadowscapes, the King of Pentacles, is absolutely beautiful. She is the tree. She is literally the tree. You can't get more earthy than being a plant. Well, I guess technically you could, but let's not go there. Sorry, I'm trying to stay focused on this video. She is the water of the earth. She is growing and life-giving and flowing, and she is creative and beautiful, and she is holding, if you can see that in her hand there, she is holding a leaf or a seed. It's hard to tell because it's really super tiny. I am definitely on the boat of people that wish this deck made a bigger size. You know, and so it's like she is cradling the next tree. I just think that's gorgeous. I like that the sort of the branches look like they're sort of flowing more than what you would like sort of rigid branches that you would typically see on a tree. It looks more like it's something that's a little bit softer and more flowing. The earth is willing to give a little, which is beautiful and necessary when you're talking about the water of the earth. You can't be completely inflexible. She's got on, if you can kind of see around, you know, the gorgeous shawl with the big sleeves. I just kind of feel like she covers that need to go with the flow, but also have what she wants. She's sure about what she wants. I mean, she's a tree. Clearly she knows what she wants and what she needs. So it's like she's sure, but she's willing to sort of work with you to get there. And I feel like that really is the water of the earth. This was the most difficult decision because I am married to a King of Pentacles, which when I tell people that, obviously they think I'm insane. I'm glad that you guys don't think that means I'm crazy. My husband is, we decided a long time ago when I was sort of learning, and I would talk to him about things, and we would try to sort of to help me learn. We would talk about, you know, which court card we were more like, and there was never a doubt. Neither one of us ever had to wonder. He was so clearly the King of Pentacles. And the fact that the gift here is the gift of skill is very him as well. And it may have swayed me a little bit over the King of Pentacles from the Shadowscapes, because he is working with his hands. He has tools. It's something he's working for. He knows exactly how to get the comforts and the things that he needs, and I believe he's holding a crown. I guess you could call that something else if you wanted to, but to me it looks like this is a man who has crafted his own crown. He doesn't need you to make him the king. He's made his own king. You know, he's made his own crown. He's made himself the king. He is completely in control of his domain. He's in control of his comforts. He's in control of his abilities to create those comforts for himself and for others. And to me, that is a perfect representation of the earth of earth, which is the King of Pentacles. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I didn't ramble and get too super crazy off topic. Since this was go number 3 at filming this, I don't want to do it again. If you have any questions about what I think about the court cards, or if you would like a free reading, all you have to do is email me at foolonajourney@gmail.com. And thank you for watching.